I'm going to limit this question to the Bills because there's certainly a lot of parties that have failed or are failing Jane Doe, who alleges to have been gang raped by Matt Araiza and two of his then San Diego State University teammates back in October 21, an accusation that Araiza denies. But I'll ask the question this way. How badly did the Bills botch this situation?
Yeah. I mean, is that a rhetorical question? Because is that rhetorical? They did a lot of things wrong here. And I just want to go back to any kind of question about Matt Araiza. Now, maybe you didn't know all the details. And I don't want to play semantic games and get too granular because we'll miss the point. There was something going on with Matt Araiza. I think teams had some questions about him. Maybe they didn't know the extent. They didn't know all the things that Jane Doe brought up. Jane Doe writing in a journal, kind of documenting and asking the question, how do I feel? I don't know. And she broke down everything that she remembers. And included Matt Araiza and a couple of his teammates and how she came in and out of consciousness and went to the San Diego Police Department and had to wait for a long time just to share her story. So there's a lot going on there. But before we even get to that level, Mike, you knew there was something going on with Araiza because he was drafted in the 6th round. I mean, like that's just the way it is. There's no way he should. I think he was the 3rd punter drafted.
He was the 3rd punter taken. And listen, some may have called me crazy, but I was advocating for the punt guy to be taken in the 3rd round.
I remember.
So yeah.
And so I think teams, and I much respect to Brandon Beane and the operation in Buffalo. Maybe he answered the question the way it was asked to him, but I think the bigger thing is, did you have anything? Was this a spotless character that you were evaluating? And Matt Araiza, did anything come up? Yeah. And I think if you ask the question that way, yeah, something came up. We just weren't sure what it was. But I know, I shouldn't say I know. I'm guessing that their scouts, along with other scouts, were a little frightened by something that came up in their investigation of Araiza, and that's why he lasted in the 6th round. The NFL, I said it this way, the NFL has a talent addiction problem, and it really is. If you've got a little bit of ability, they'll take you. They'll find a way to take you. They'll find a way to use you, and that even goes to punters. Mike, a punter? They had a good punter.
And they brought him in favor of Araiza after learning of a potential situation. So a couple of phrases that I've invoked quite a bit over the years in different conversations. One is not to know is bad, not to wish to know is worse. And the other one is, this is W.E.B. Du Bois, a system cannot fail those it was never designed to protect, right?
Right.
So when I say that a lot of parties, a lot of institutions have failed Jane Doe, I got to catch myself because it's like, no. San Diego State was trying to protect its superstar, one of its star players, and its growing program. It just opened up a new stadium. Its growing program, okay? Buffalo Bills were trying to protect not only their interests, but also the interest of their recent draft pick. Because, okay, forget the draft process, which they need to be asking themselves some hard questions about what kind of questions they're asking of their prospects or their sources. And we're talking about a league that infamously asks some of the most intrusive and offensive at times questions in its pre-draft process, such as, was your mother a prostitute? I thought this league was supposed to know everything about everybody and everybody connected to their potential draft prospects. I thought no stone went unturned and nothing went uncovered. But okay, you didn't find out until late July. What bothers me about what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott had to say at this press conference the other night is, well, it was just an accusation. Well, it's still an accusation. It's just in a lawsuit form now. So if you felt good enough to not only keep him once you learned that there was an issue on your hands, but you felt good enough to cut your incumbent punter, Matt Hawk, and now that it's in a form of a lawsuit, now it's too hot, so you got to get out the kitchen by releasing him. Well, what changed? What changed exactly? Because you stood by him when there was an accusation on your hands. When the attorney called your assistant general counsel. No, I'm actually going to, that was rhetorical too. I'll answer it and you can answer it too. But what I was going to say is what changed is similar to the Ray Rice tape. The league saw the Ray Rice tape and I think suspended him for 2 games at the time. We saw the Ray Rice tape and he was suspended indefinitely. The Bills knew about this accusation and they decided to keep him. We found out about this accusation and then it was time to release him. We read the horrific, the grotesque, disturbing details of Jane Doe's alleged assault. And I'll just say this, Michael, before I pass to you, that's got to stay at the center of this conversation. Is a young woman claims to have been brutally gang raped. That's the story. Same as I talked about with Deshaun Watson. I was like, we center the quarterback too much. Matt Araiza is not the story, but for purposes of the response, my biggest issue is why the NFL and its teams constantly fumble when it comes to matters of domestic violence or sexual assault. There needs to be some kind of crisis team, some kind of hotline, some kind of group that says, we'll take it from here. Because time after time, Michael, you and I both know this. What do teams hate more than anything when it comes to players? They hate repeat offenders. They hate rep guys. Yeah. They hate error repeaters. Right. Why are NFL teams such error repeaters when you can look 2 hours away at everything that the Browns are dealing with and how they could have handled things differently, okay, from a PR standpoint? And now here you are in Buffalo finding out about something in July and letting it end at one conversation, and then your so-called thorough investigation consisted of talking to the accused? Come on, man. Like, how many times you got to do this the wrong way to get it right? So you can release him 2 days later and think that you've washed your hands with it because it's in Matt's best interest to go and deal with this situation. But no, it's not that simple. When are they going to learn how not to handle situations like this? And finding out about it in July and leaving it with our assistant general counsel had one conversation, and never followed up. And then once it becomes a lawsuit, now we got to release it. Now we're trying to do the right thing. You had an opportunity to do the right thing a long time ago. And sometimes it is too late to do the right thing.
Yeah, I think in their case, it could have been exactly what you said. They knew the information we didn't know. We find out, and they release them. There could be also another wave to this, another layer to this, and that is Matt Araiza may have changed his story to them.
No doubt about it.
Under pressure. He may have changed his story. Oh, well.
I believe that.
Why didn't you tell us this? Yeah. Oh, you left that? Oh, you didn't tell us that before. You left out a big part of the story.
But that's not his fault for lying. He would not be the first accused rapist of lying. Like, that's why you don't just let your thorough investigation in with talking to the player.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, I understand how our system, talk about systems, I understand how our legal system works, and lawyers all over the country will say, hey, I'll defend somebody even if I don't agree with what they're doing. I'm more, as a lawyer, I'm more interested in their right to a defense. I want to make sure they get it right. I got it. But for Araiza's lawyer to go in on at the time, 17-year-old high school student, and to bring up all these, it's just like the laziest, oldest trope going when it comes to women.
This is a shakedown.
Yeah. It's a shakedown. Hey, she told him she was going to Grossmont College, not Grossmont High School. So, okay. So if she had told them that if she told them that she was a college student, not a high school student, oh, then it's okay? Like, what are you saying here? So throwing all this stuff out there, it's really disgusting to hear the other side talk about this young woman, Jane Doe, and attempt to justify, rationalize, win the court of public opinion. I'm not sure what the agenda is, but it's really disturbing. Last thing I'll say on it.
Sure.
You've already said, all right, if the system is not designed to protect something, like why are we surprised that this is happening? Well, you asked the question about the NFL. Why can't the NFL get it right? Well, NFL, if you look from the top to the bottom, start with the commissioner's office, you start with ownership, you start with general managers, you start with head coaches and coaching staffs and scouting departments, and you look at the whole operation, most of them either, to quote Doughboy, either they don't know, they don't show, or they don't give a about what's going on with women. They get it wrong with women because they're either ignorant or they don't care.
Right. Right.
And this,
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
So the story keeps. So these stories
it just feels like it needs to be taken out of their hands. Like it's like they can't, like, and Brandon Beane, like, listen, and I don't know Brandon Beane, and I know Sean McDermott a little bit, but like I don't doubt that they're good people trying their best, but your best ain't good enough. Your best ain't good enough. And none of you, that goes for all of you. You're right. You're football people. You're general managers. You're coaches. This is above your pay grade. So it needs to be taken out of their hands so that nobody else can make the determination on, we're going to keep this in-house. We're going to handle this. We're going to conduct a thorough investigation. You are not qualified to quantify what constitutes a thorough investigation. Right. It should no longer be yours. And secondly, let's go play the music, Gary, because we got to talk to Charles Robinson on the other side of this break. But I'll just say this last thing. And it's kind of a moot point now that he's been released. But the idea that he is not subject to NFL discipline because the alleged behavior preceded his time in the NFL, not a fan of that. Because if something comes up in Michael Holley's past, NBC going to have something to say about it. Same for Michael Smith. Right. Same for all of us. Okay, I don't care what's collectively bargained. If you can't avoid accountability just because it doesn't come to light later on. So that's another thing that needs to be reevaluated when it comes to this entire personal conduct policy and procedure and process.
Amen.
Is the idea that, oh, well, this preceded it, hey, my name's Paul, that's between y'all. This happened before he got to the league. He's an NFL player. It affects you. So the Bills did what they had to do, but this could have been avoided and further investigated. I wish the NFL and its teams were proactive, just once. Be proactive and not reactive. That's all I ask. Charles Robinson will react after the break.
Hey, thanks for watching Brother from Another on YouTube. Make sure you hit subscribe before you leave, and be sure to watch us 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Peacock. Appreciate you.